Hey, friend, welcome back. As always, I'm your host, Brian Davis, co-founder of Spark Rental. I am on a journey to reach financial independence, and I am on that journey with our audience, with our investment club of members who go in on investments together every month. We vet deals together. It's a lot of fun. And as part of that role of organizing an investment club, I get to meet a ton of experts in real estate and personal finance and investing. And today is no different. We are joined today by Jonathan Green. He's the host of the Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing podcast. He's a certified life coach, certified real estate coach, and he is the real estate investor and founder behind Streamlined Properties. And Jonathan is going to be talking to us today about how to do short-term and mid-term rentals inside of a multifamily to create diversification within a single property. So on that note, Jonathan, I'm so curious to hear about this.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brian. Well, I love real estate because I feel like real estate as a whole can be completely diversified. You can be in any type of, you can have single family, you can have multifamily, you can buy self-storage, you can be in a syndication, you can do short-term rental, you can do mid-term rental. But I think what a lot of people forget is that you can actually diversify an asset inside the asset. Classically, I used to think of this as only mixed use properties where you have retail on one floor and then upstairs you have some apartments. That's great. And you can actually do what I'm about to tell you in that as well. But what we found recently as one of the best hacks is if you're looking to house hack, which a lot of people are now, live in one unit, rent out the other, or if you have multiple units, a lot of people think of it as static long-term rents. They live in one side, they get a long-term renter in the other side. That's great. That works great as long as the numbers work. But when you're in a time like now where interest rates are high and it's hard to get the money back that you hoped, there's a way to hack that and upgrade it. So your long-term rent may be just say 1, but if you go to midterm, maybe you're at 1.7 to 2.2x. If you go short term and you know how to do it and you're in an area that supports it, you could be at 2.5 to 4x your normal rent. Yes, it does require more upkeep and better amenities. You do have to furnish the properties. So there's a difference though. Short term, you're going to get probably more money, more turnover, more cleaning. Midterm, you're going to have longer stays, and it doesn't have to be as amenities driven as a short-term rental. But this is something that you can do right next to yourself while house hacking. Or if you're just an investor and you buy a 2, 3, 4 unit, you can experiment so you can hedge your bets. You can have 2 long-term rentals, a midterm rental, and a short-term rental. And then you can start to see where the income comes. And then if one starts going better, like a lot of people of my friends who do really well with midterm rentals, a lot of them will convert their long terms to midterm because they have overflow for people in the area.
I love all of that. You touched on so much that if this were a longer interview, yeah, I would be digging into. But a couple of highlights there just to point out. So when you run a short-term rental business or even a mid-term rental business while house hacking, it's so much easier to manage those more labor-intensive short-term
Yeah.
rentals when you live next door, right? Because it does take more management effort to manage a short-term rental than a long-term rental. But when you can just walk 10 feet next door to clean the linens between guests or anything, that's a lot easier than having a bunch of Airbnb properties all over the city. So that's a huge perk right there.
Yeah.
You can even do a strategy called rental arbitrage where you don't even have to buy the property. You can sign a long-term lease on a property and then turn around and rent it out short-term on Airbnb or to travel nurses or other midterm guests. So yeah, there's so much you can do here. And so in our co-investing club, one of our core values, our highest goals is diversification and a lot of different property types and a lot of different strategies, different states, different sponsors. And I'm curious, Jonathan, do you know any syndicators or any sponsors who actually use this strategy on a large scale, with big apartment complexes where they're renting some out long term, maybe some out short term on Airbnb, some midterm rentals? Do you know any syndicators who are doing this out of curiosity?
No, not on the larger scale. I do know a lot of people with smaller units between maybe 2, 3, 4, up to 8, 9, where they're experimenting with this. I think it's hard for a syndicator to go in on that because they like to know exactly what they're going to get. But I do think that it's something that's possible. Again, if I just go back quickly to what I love mixed use because it's already diversified by itself. You have, it's a commercial asset, but you have retail and residential, and you can do retail, residential long term, residential short term. That's a triple to me. So I haven't seen syndicators do it because I think it's a management thing. And also, they don't want to devalue their major asset by putting in more wear and tear. But for the small scale, like you said, I think it's a great way for people to get started. You're learning landlording. You can learn short term so that if you get good at it and you're right next door, it's much easier to start to put that in play a little bit further away.
Yeah, and that's one more reason why house hacking is such a great way to get started. In addition to the free housing, of course, which is awesome. Yeah, and I just to touch on one last thing you said, I love mixed use properties. We haven't done a ton of them in our co-investing club. We did invest in one last year. It was actually two residential properties and then a commercial. Technically, they were legally owned differently, but they were retail properties that were on the first floor. Or embedded within the residential
Yeah.
community. And yeah, it adds so much diversification even within a single investment. So I love that.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, in 30 seconds or less, how do you help people? And if people want that help, how can they reach you?
Yeah. The short answer is I help people by being honest. So anywhere you'll find me in forums or in discussions is always me telling the truth and not fluffing up how it's going to be. I'm easy to find on Instagram at Trust Green with an E at the end. And my podcast, Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing, is easy to find. And I appreciate you having me on this one as well.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for coming on. And guys, if you enjoy these quick but packed conversations that we have, please rate and review the show. Means a world of difference to us, and we will catch you on the flip side. Wondering how private equity real estate investing works? We get it. A lot of investors are put off by phrases like private equity or real estate syndication, but these completely passive investments are actually a lot easier than buying properties directly, buying properties yourself in your own name. So we offer a free 40-minute class called Hack the Rich, 7 Secrets We've Learned from Private Equity Real Estate. There's not even a sales pitch at the end. We'll show you how to invest in these on your own without any help from us. So go to sparkrental.com/hack to take the free class. And we can't wait to chat about your questions.